Good evening, Munster Church. Good evening, Facebook world. Whether you are a member of Munster Church, whether you're a friend of Munster Church, whether you're a part of the church virtual of Munster Church, maybe you just stumbled upon this because a friend linked it or whatever. I want to greet you and welcome you to this Tenebrae Good Friday service. If you were with us, either online or in person last night, we celebrated Maundy Thursday. Maundy Thursday is that night of the Last Supper, where we see Jesus washing his disciples' feet, predicting the future, giving the high priestly prayer, encouraging his disciples to continue in the faith, whether the highs are super high or when the lows become super low. We hear the promise of the Holy Spirit, the Parakletos, the advocate, will come, but Jesus has to go. We see Judas Iscariot being filled with the evil one, going out to betray him. We see the engagement of Jesus and Peter, where Jesus predicts that Peter will betray him. We hear a lot of brokenness, but we also hear a lot of hope as Jesus and his disciples go to the Garden of Gethsemane. And that's where we find ourselves now. In the midnight hour, that Thursday into Friday, where the darkness, the growing darkness, which is what Tenebrae means, tries to snuff out the light of the world. Tonight, we're going to journey together through the different voices and the different scenes of Jesus' passion. If you remember from very early on of this Lenten journey, the road to redemption, we brought it all the way back to Genesis chapter 3, to two phrases. And he will crush your head, and you will strike his heel. Well, the end of Maundy Thursday and the beginning of Good Friday is really a microscopic look at you will strike his heel. Friends, that is a phrase that we need to remember this night. That is a phrase that we're going to hear played out in the Gospels from many different voices of Munster Church. We're going to hear about Jesus beaten, scorned, flogged, shamed. We're going to see misinformation, lying, deception. We're going to see his disciples betray him, run away, not have his back. But as we journey tonight through the scenes, through the voices, through the hurt and the pain, as we see the darkness try to take over, there's also hope. Friends, take heart. Though we wade through the darkness now, the light of Sunday is coming. So I greet you this night in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Come and join us. Come as we walk through the shadows and the voices of the growing darkness of this Tenebrae Good Friday service.
While he was still speaking, there was a crowd. The man called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He drew near to Jesus to kiss him, but Jesus said to him, "Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" And when those who were around them saw what would follow, they said, "Lord, shall we strike with the sword?" And one of them struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear. But Jesus said no more of this. And he touched his ear and healed him. And then Jesus said to the chief priests and officers of the temple and elders who had come out against him, "Have you come out against a robber with swords and clubs? When I was with you day after day in the temple, you did not lay hands on me. But this is your hour, and the power of darkness."
Sulfa tolerable cabo, and you will strike his heel.
Now the men who were holding Jesus in custody were mocking him as they beat him. They also blindfolded him and kept asking him, "Prophesy, who is it that struck you?" And they said many other things against him, blaspheming him.
Sofa Todrebu Kabahu, and you will strike his heel.
Pilate addressed them once more, desiring to release Jesus. But they kept shouting, "Crucify, crucify him." A third time he said to them, "Why? What evil has he done? I have found in him no evil deserving death. I will therefore punish and release him." But they were urgent, demanding with loud cries that he should be crucified. And their voices prevailed. So Pilate decided that their demand should be granted. He released the man that had been thrown in prison for insurrection and murder. But he delivered Jesus over to their will.
Sofa Todrebu Kabahu, and you will strike his heel.
Two others who were criminals were led away to be put to death with him. And when they came to the place that is called the Skull, there they crucified him and the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And they cast lots to divide his garments. And the people stood by watching, but the rulers scoffed at him, saying, "He saved others, let him save himself, if he is Christ the God, the chosen one." The soldiers also came up and mocked him, serving him sour wine, and saying, "If you are the King of the Jews, save yourself." There was also an inscription over him, "This is the King of the Jews."
Sofa Todrebu Kabahu, and you will strike his heel.
It was now about the 6th hour, and there was darkness over the whole land, until the 9th hour, while the sun's light failed, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Then Jesus, calling out with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And having said this, he breathed his last. Now when the centurion saw what had taken place, he praised God, saying, "Certainly this man was innocent." And all the crowds who had assembled for the spectacle, when they saw what had taken place, returned home beating their breasts. And all his acquaintances and the women who had followed him from Galilee stood at a distance watching these things.
Sofa Todrebu Kabahu, and you will strike his heel.